SOS, serbisyo, ora mismo, sigurado. Programang tatalakay sa kapangyarihan ng serbisyo sibil. SOS, serbisyo, ora mismo, sigurado. Programang hihimay sa kapangyarihan ng pamalang lokal. SOS, serbisyo, ora mismo, sigurado. Programang maglapit sa pamalan at mamamayan. SOS, serbisyo, ora mismo, sigurado. Kikilos ang barangay para sa bayan, edukasyon, kalusugan, trapiko, basura at iba pa. SOS, serbisyo, ora mismo, sigurado. Tatalakay sa mga problemang napapanahon, problemang hahanapan ng solusyon.
Muli isang magandang hapon mga kaibigan. Welcome sa ating SOS, serbisyo ora mismo sigurado. Layunin po natin na maiangat ang kaalaman ng ating mga kababayan sa katwiran at karapatan nationwide and worldwide. Hapon ng Miyerkules, ito po yung midweek. Talagang gustong-gusto ko na dumarating ang Miyerkules dahil Huwebes tapos Biyernes, tapos makikita ko si Sir David yung mga post na talagang naglalamierda, kumakain sa kung saan. Talaga na. Oy, lahat naman tayo ganyan di ba? Talagang looking forward kapag sumasapit ang weekend. Pero yung ating mga pangangatawan, dapat parati tayong batcho. Sir David, no?
Yes, sir.
Alam po ninyo, si AJ Austria muna ang ating technical director, si Angel Atienza ang ating production head pang Miyerkules na edisyon ng ating SOS dito po sa ating Techie Wednesday, Tech for Everyone. Mabigat yung talakayan natin, lalo tigit sisipatin natin, sisilipin natin yung role ng social media dito sa mga trending news. At pamaya-maya, meron po tayong makakasama sa palatuntunan. Bibigyan muna tayo ng idea ng ating Sir David Rioferio, ang founder ng CSR Insights, kung ano ba yung dapat na i-expect ng ating mga nakikinig at nanonood ngayong hapon dito po sa ating magiging talakayan. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Sir David.
Good afternoon, Sir Johnny, at sa lahat po ng kasama natin ngayong Techie Wednesday. Maganda, sabi nga po ninyo, maganda yung usapan natin ngayon kasi makikita natin gano'n nga ba karesponsable dapat tayong mga gumagamit ng SOCMED o sabi nga sa balita kanina, anong nakaraan, yung mga vloggers daw dapat responsable.
Sila yun.
No? Yeah.
Sila yun.
Tapos yung kalahating part ng show natin, kasama natin si Lady Ochel Espinosa. Siya po ang PR Congress Chairperson ng Public Relations Society of the Philippines at saka po Regional Insights Director ng iCentia. So, expert po ito sa communications. Mamaya malalaman natin yung updates.
Pag-uusapan natin. Hihingi tayo ng insights kay Lady Ochel. Merong parang second week ng September, Sir David. Ano yung happening na ito? Ano yung activity?
Ito po yung taon-taon pong nangyayari, yung National PR Congress.
Okay.
So, organized po ito ng Public Relations Society of the Philippines. Sama-sama po. Ngayon po, very special kasi 30th year. Ang tema nila, yung basta kasama yung past, present, and future. Back to basics. Lahat po ng iba't ibang kumpanya, yung kanilang mga PR persons nandito, at saka po ibang mga influencers at saka thought leaders.
Makikita natin si Sir David Rioferio doon dahil bahaba po yung kanyang knowledge at kanyang experience pagdating o larangan ng public relations. Kaya siguro yung first part, ito yung ating pag-uusapan. Dahil alam po ninyo, bukod dun sa lumabas na trending news, yung kay Gonzales, no? Yung police na nagbunot ng kanyang baril dun sa siklista, meron na namang trending news.
Oo nga.
Parang kanina lang yata ito nangyari dyan sa Pasay na ipinapakita ng footage. Medyo sensitibo kaya hindi na po namin ipapakita. Pero all over the news, social media pages ay talagang kitang-kita na merong isang nakaputing t-shirt na ito raw po yung pulis na naglabas ng baril at meron siyang parang pinipin down. na naka-helmet pa, tapos naka-riding gear, no? Ang dami pong ang daming nagbibigay nung kanilang reaksyon. Nung nirepost ko nga ito, Sir David, sa aking Facebook page, pati si dating Makati Vice Mayor Bobby Brillante ay nagbigay ng kanyang komento na parang paano ba ito? Barbaric na nga ba yung ating mga elemento ng pulisya? Yung ating mga kasama sa hanap buhay, nagbigay rin ng kanilang mga komento. Ako'y nagpapasalamat kay Willie Delgado Jr. ng DCME, kay Romel Fertes ng DZRH, no? Ang sinasabi ni Idol Romel, legit na pulis daw, yung nakaputi, yung may hawak na baril, at yung pinipin down, ito daw po ay nagpapanggap parang usurpation of authority at sinasabing siya ay miyembro ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, no? Tingnan po ninyo yung mga komento doon sa aking social media account, Johnny Gomez. At pinipin down, pero hindi naman nakikita yung muka dahil parang nauna yatang naglabas ng kanyang armas, nagwasiwas ng kanyang baril. Ito yung kwento na sinasabi ni Romel. Ngayon, tayong mga sukiyaki ng mga reels at mga stories ng ibang tao sa social media, how do we make the viewers responsible when it comes to sharing information, sharing videos and reels, Sir David, sa makabagong panahon, no? Without identifying and talagang siguro investigating muna kung ano yung nangyari. Kasi ito yung argument, remember mo, ito yung argument ni Gonzales, na masyado daw siyang criticize, pati yung kanyang mga anak, yung kanyang pamilya, ay nasasaktan sa nangyari, pero hindi naman daw natin alam, kasama ni siguro tayong nakikriticize sa kanya, yung totoong nangyari or the story behind the pagbubunot ng baril. Now, how do we make, ito si Uchel, pumapasok na maaga, how do we make our viewers and listeners responsible in sharing information, Sir David?
Ako siguro, sir, personal ko na stance, titignan ko muna parang kung ako yung nasa kalagayan nung tao na topic or subject nung material na i-share ko or ipopost ko, anong mararamdaman ko kung gagawin ko yon, kung gagawin sa akin yon. Pangalawa, kung ako naman yung babasa, syempre lalo na kung very very dynamic, very colorful yung i-share mo, siguro baka i-embrace agad ng mga tao yung i-share mo. So, yun din, parang gusto mo bang gano'n na mangyari? Ito po, yung napakagandang halimbawa, fresh na fresh yung kahapon, di ba, kay Sir Mike Enriquez.
Yes.
So, ano pa lang yan parang mga hapon pa lang, ang dami nang lumalabas na photos about him, na he passed away na. Pero ako,
Sir David, taon-taon kasi taon-taon may lumalabas na ganyang na ganyang issue kay Mike.
So ako, tinignan ko muna, sabi ko, teka, una, ayokong mag-share nito kung hindi naman legitimate yung source.
Correct.
Or sa tingin ko, parang, ma-share lang. Kasi makikita mo naman sa itsura ng poster na gawa, sa photos na kinuha, sa font, makikita mo yung itsura, parang minadali. So parang, hindi, baka hindi pa to. Tapos ang dami na nag-share, pero hindi ko pa rin share. Hanggat lumabas siguro yung isang reputable na, Philippine Daily Inquirer, ayun, sigurado na ako na meron. Tapos, meron pa siyang tinag na GMA, di ba, yung statement. So, okay, so official na nga siya. Tsaka ako ngayon shinare. Kasi, meron kang, meron ako mga kaibigan, tulad mo, tulad ni Ochel, na mamaya kasama natin. Parang, pag shinare ko yun, na mali naman, nakakahiya naman, di ba? Kasi, hindi ko tinatago yung sarili ko as a, content creator or as a netizen, as someone who shares information. So yun siguro, titingnan mo rin yung sa sarili mo, pag shinare mo to, meron bang madadagdag sa'yo, meron bang mawawala? And yung sinabi ni, banggitin ko na rin si Arnold Clavio, di ba?
Yeah.
Siya, nag-post siya ng black na lang, tapos meron lang candle sa gilid. Never niya binanggit si Mr. Mike Enriquez. Siguro, out of respect, doon sa family, ayaw niya na ako yung una mag-share. Hayaan mo yung family or yung kung sino mang official ang magsabi. So ganun. Sa lagay naman po nito ni Mr. Gonzales,
tinawag mo Mr. Clean Ikaw yata yung nauna. Sino ang nauna dyan?
Meron akong nabasa sa Facebook. Veterano. Sa lagay niya naman, Ewan ko si Johnny, siguro may thin line kasi that's the problem. Not the problem, that's the beauty now, whatever you do nagiging halos transparent na. Because in the first place, you're in a public place and you're causing distress to other people. And
Correct.
nilabas mo yung baril mo eh. So fine. Dapat siguro responsibly i-check mo na like yung sa second na instance na sinabi ninyo, pinipin down, yun pala merong nagpe-pretend na law enforcement agency person siya. Pero ito, 'di ba, kita mo naman sa reaction ng tao nung mga players dun sa video na 'di ba, mali na yung ginawa na. So kanya-kanyang Sir Johnny.
Maraming angle. Pero alam po ninyo, ang magiging sigurong beat ng ating discussion with Ochel and Sir David is how do we create a responsible audience, no? Dito po sa talagang fast-paced na media environment na meron tayo ngayon. Social media, parang everyone is really gearing towards yung idea na maging influencer at gusto talagang todo ang sharing, etc., no? Yung role ng Public Relations Society of the Philippines din, gusto po nating alamin kung how do they protect integrity dito po sa mga naglalabasang mga information ngayon. Pakilala natin si Lady Ochel, si Ma'am Lady Ochel. Sir David, go ahead.
Sige po. So, ang kasama po natin ay si Lady Ochel Espinosa. Siya po ang 30th National PR Congress Chairperson and then also Public Relations Society of the Philippines Vice President External, and Icentia, Regional Insights Director for Emerging Markets of Southeast Asia. Siya po ang
Hello! Good afternoon, Good afternoon, Sir Donnie and Sir Dave. Nice to see you both again. Salamat po sa pag-imbita dito sa programa niyo.
Alam natin, Sir David, busy si Ma'am Ochel doon sa paghahanda sa tatlong dekada na ang Public Relations Society of the Philippines, no? At napakaraming ano bang tawag dito? Humps and bumps ng ating larangan ng pamamahayag. Alam po ninyo, sinasabi, matandang biro sa komunikasyon, ang PR daw ang tagasalo ng suntok eh. Ang public relations, ang tagalinis ng mga pagkakamali ng kung sino man. Pero on a more, parang kumbaga credible statement, meron po tayong public relations to somehow ipakita naman yung kagandahan ng isang bagay, whether ito'y corporate, whether ito'y public service o political in nature. Tandaan po natin, there is always something beautiful in us. At ito yung talagang inilalabas, hina-highlight ng public relations as an institution at as a sector na rin. Tama ba yun, Sir David, Ma'am Ochel?
Oo naman. Yes, Ochel.
Definitely, Sir Johnny, totoo yun. Yes po, 30th National Public Relations Congress. Okay. And yung PRSP po is more than, I think, 60 years, more than 60 years na as an institution. Or I think one of the organizations that are one of the older organizations that have, survived through time kasi communications is very, very important. So, yes, sir, we're more than happy to invite muna. I'll take this opportunity to invite your audience, communicators, our friends in the media, PR practitioners, business people, the academe, and the government. Everyone is actually invited to join the 30th National Public Relations Congress with our theme this year, NOMON, which is actually championing public relations from intention to impact. And for those of you na, yes sir, yun po. So NOMON actually is something, a term that has been asked to us frequently. What does that mean? So the NOMON is actually the part of a sundial. It casts, yung sundial po that casts a shadow. That's called a NOMON. And in NOMON, it calculates time. In public relations, we believe that timing is everything. So time, Sir Johnny and Sir David, time is the theme, the overarching theme of this year's PR Congress. I think minention to kanina ni Sir David, no, we're going back to the past. We're going to honor that. We're going to go back to basics, especially to the younger professionals now that sometimes nalilimutan yung basics and the foundation of communications as a profession. And then, of course, we're going to tackle the challenges of the present and prepare our audiences also for the future. Dito na yung papasok yung AI, yung lahat ng pinag-uusapan right now. And is it even still relevant to call something traditional and digital at this point? Baka wala nang difference. And yun po yung mga pag-uusapan namin. And we're happy to announce also that our keynote speaker this year is Senator 𝗦𝗲𝗿𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗧. We just announced it also in our social media channels and all our platforms. Thank you for that, Sir John.
Bago tumakbong senador si 𝗦𝗲𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗧, talagang for the longest time nagsilbi bilang isang mamamahayag. Napakaganda, Sir David, no? Personal question sa inyong dalawa. Yung binabanggit ni Ma'am Ochel kanina, from intention to impact. Dalhin nyo nga yung ating mga nakikinig at nanonood dun sa transformation ng public relations. Mula dun sa panahon na tayo'y boka-boka lang. Tapos ngayon digital na, no? At nung mga panahon na talagang kami kasi sa broadcast media, ang sandata namin sa paggawa ng istorya will always be the 5 W's and 1 H. Okay. Sabi naman ng iba, ewan ko, sa PR ba nanggaling ito yung 5 wives and 1 husband? Ha? Hindi ko alam, narinig ko lang. O tinatanggit ni Sir David. Hindi daw sa PR nanggaling. Anyway, 5 W's and 1 H. Ito yung aming guiding principle in creating a story. Pero nung mga lumang panahon, let's go back to basic, no? Pagdating sa news creation, ang aming intention is to inform and educate the market. Pagka-showbiz naman, to entertain. Hindi ba? So, there are 3 basic principles daw ng broadcasting. Information, education, and entertainment. Ito yung lumang panahon. Bagong panahon, meron ng influencing. So, yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Ochel kanina, from intention to impact. How do we now measure the impact that I, for example, create kapag ako ay nagbabasa ng information or nag-gather ng information? Lalo tigit, binobroadcast not only in the traditional, kundi kasama na rin yung live streaming ng more influential social media. How do we draw the line between credibility and marites? Sige nga, Ma'am Ochel, turuan mo nga kami, please.
Sige, sir, that's a lot to unpack, no? Yung ang sinasabi ni Sir Johnny. And it's actually very relevant at this time. I'm sure si Sir David knows that since both of us are in the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, and even sir sa PRSP, we come from different organizations, different din yung the way we do PR. Ako, I come from the measurement side of PR. So, unahan ko lang yung sinasabi ni Sir Johnny na intention to impact, and that's the reason why time is also very much stitched to that overarching theme. I believe that PR efforts must focus on bridging the gap actually between intention and impact. As PR professionals, if I may say so, dati pag even until now, right? Pag ginagamit yung word na PR, pini-PR mo lang kami, PR lang yan. So we have to say it, right? We have to be very honest that sometimes public relations as a term is actually being misused in such a way that it manipulates stories, when in fact it's actually supposed to be sharing success stories and milestone, and to reinforce the commitment to transform the intention into tangible results. And that's what we wanted to reinforce this PR Congress, that PR efforts now must focus on bridging the gap between simple intentions, goals, objectives, and really translating them into impact, sabi nga ni Sir Johnny. And communication should highlight actions taken to fulfill promises and goals. So the gap there is, good, you have promises, you have goals, you have intention, but what are the actions that were taken as a result of the communication process so that the communication will feel its impact? And I think that's the beauty of public relations. We highlight perception, we define reputation, and that has transitioned over time with measured efforts. I'll dagdagan ko lang, sinabi ni Jordan, how to measure the impact? And that's why right now, PR professionals are maintaining that authenticity, that dignity, by really measuring the communication efforts that we put out there. And when we say we measure it, kaya tayo in social, di ba? Engagements is a term that is always being used. How many pickups, di ba? How many media mentions? Those are important. They're part and parcel, part of the overall measurement efforts in PR, so that we will be able to translate them into impactful business decisions and organizational decisions. So that's what we want to reinforce, that public relations is not just telling stories as they are. There is your intention there, and there is actually it is translated to impact by the decision makers that we are, especially when that now communicators are part of the boardroom, for example, Sir John.
Sir David, ikaw, anong tingin mo doon?
Galing ni Ochel, okay na yun. Hindi. Siguro naalala ko. Oo, pag kausap ko yung mga students ko dati sa school, pinag-usapan namin yung history nga ng PR, paano ba ito nag-evolve? So, isa sa mga notable persons doon, si P.T. Barnum. Kung napanood niyo yung The Greatest Showman, siya yung may-ari ng circus doon sa movie. Pero in real life, ganun din naman. He owns a circus. Pero syempre, the way he communicates to the people, kunyari, the heaviest woman on earth, the tallest man, the longest something. So medyo may manipulation stage na yung part na yon. But again, the intention was just to entertain. So medyo acceptable pa yon na i-OA mo, kung magano in layman's terms, i-OA mo yung pag-communicate mo. But then, nagkaroon na ng, ito na si Dale Carnegie, JP Morgan, nagkaroon ng Industrial Revolution, nagkaroon ng trains. Ang daming mga labor abuses that time. So, walang panahon para makimingle yung mga owners nitong mga railroads na to sa mga workers nila. So, came the PR people trying to bridge, yun nga sinasabi ni Ochel, trying to bridge the gap na talaga bang kaming mga workers, you just want us to just work with your railroads, gawin namin to, or hindi? Then, eto na, dumating yung owner, nakipag-dance dun sa mga workers, etc. And then, nagkaroon yung one-way form of communication through the form of newspapers. Puro announcements lang. So this time, nalaman na ng mga workers o ng mga stakeholders, ng mga publics, ng iba't ibang companies na yun, okay, ito pala yung gusto nilang gawin. Pero may kulang doon kasi that's just one-way communication. Hanggang sa pumasok na si 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝘂𝗂𝗍𝗍𝗍, father of modern PR ata yun. And then yun na, nagkaroon na ng two-way win-win communication. Because we must remember, sa Philippines, sa law, or even in other countries, public office is a public trust. Ganun din sa ating mga personalities, sa ating mga companies. We cannot exist kung walang approval ng isang community. If you build a cell site, if you're a telco, hindi pwedeng magtayo ka lang sa isang barangay kasi ang daming mga stakeholders dyan. May eskwelahan, may barangay chairman, dadaan ka dapat dyan. So, how do you explain that? Again, bilang isang PR practitioner, dapat nasa side ka ng kumpanya mo, of course, but again, kinikilala mo yung mahalagang kontribusyon ng mga publics mo because without them, nobody will buy your product or they will prevent people from buying your product. So gano'n siya. Pero, hindi ito dapat manipulation dapat two-way ang communication, merong binabato, merong feedback. At the same time, win-win ang solution. Nakapagtayo ka ng cell site, nakatulong ka sa community, etc.
The challenge now is very, kumbaga iba-iba yung mentality ng ating audience pertaining to a single information or multi-information na kanilang nakikita. Katulad ng binabanggit natin kanina, Ma'am Ochel, napag-usapan namin ng bahagya yung mga problemang kinakaharap ngayon ng Philippine National Police because of the images na naiiwan dun sa ating mga kababayan because of these abusive former cops, former PNP personnel. Hindi ba mahirap sa mundo ng public relations na i-create ang isang imahe na dedicated, service-oriented, at talagang detailed focus katulad ng Philippine National Police? Tapos ang nakikita mo, yung mga dati mong tao, o baka pwede natin sabihin yung ibang mga personnel nila dahil lumutang rin yung mga ninja cops pagdating sa drugs naman. So, Ako, personally, ang sasabihin ko, it is what it is. Kung ano yung nakikita ko, doon ako magbibigay ng komento. Okay? And I will let my public, yung mga nakikinig at nanonood dun sa aking programa, decide kung maniniwala sila sa akin o hindi. Dahil sabi ko nga, hindi naman ako influencer eh. Narito ako to inform and to educate and sometimes to entertain. Pero yung influence side, eh, hindi ko trabaho, hindi naman ako vlogger. Pero pabalikan natin yung trabaho ng isang public relations practitioner at expert. Paano mo i-highlight ang isang institusyon? Samantalang yung kanilang mga dating miyembro, they are trying to clean their dirty linens in public. Hindi ba matandang kasabihan na yan? So, paano yan? Are you torn between good PR or simply publicity? Sige nga, Ma'am Ochel.
Sir Johnny, I think it's important to understand first that there are different kinds of PR.
Correct.
And I'm sure si Sir David will understand that. So in every undertaking, in every public relations effort, there should be an objective and a goal. For example, number one, is this reputation management? Right? Is this crisis management? So, point of view ang tinitingnan ng PR practitioner sa case-to-case basis. Is this media relations? Right? Kung may interview ba to, may media ba to? Ang gusto ba niyang PR is more on audience engagement. That's another kind of strategy. There's also PR in brand building, whether or not it's a government institution or a private institution. Then din papasok din yung sinasabi mo kanina, Sir Johnny, na influence, thought leadership. There are different kinds of PR. Meron ng internal PR, di ba, in employee relations, given that the people who represent the organization are actually the best PR for any given organization. Same goes dun sa example mo, Sir Johnny. Minsan, isang tao lang magkamali. That's the either the good PR or the bad PR, if it's good or bad, that represents the organization. There are different kinds of PR, public policy advocacy, meron mga partnerships and collaborations, even to the detailed portion na medyo nagbo-border ng marketing, like product and service launches. So I think in any situation, any public relations practitioner should always think of the strategy first. Kasi kung papasok lang siya ng papasok sa situation, in the example that you're giving, sino ba yung audience na ang gusto mong kausapin? Right? Sino bang audience na gusto mong kausapin? Yung organization ba? In your example, Sir Johnny? The audience ba? The general public? What do you want to do? Do you want to manage the reputation? Do you think this is already a crisis for the organization? Or do you just want to make sure that the media plays out the correct stories and transparent stories for you? Then that definitely is media relations. So for me, there are different kinds of PR. The objective has to be clear, and it also has to be sustainable. But at the end of the day, any public relations professional would agree with me that we need to protect the integrity of the profession. It refers to maintaining several aspects such as accuracy of details, right? Reliability of spokespersons, reliability of facts, the consistency of information, pare-pareho ba in different channels yung pinapublish natin, yung messaging natin. Then there are different systems or processes. Whether it's actually personal relationship, pwede din minsan data security, or other contexts. There are different kinds of general strategies to help protect the integrity of comms and integrity of public relations. But it always has to begin dun sa sinabi ko kanina. Ano bang point of view? Ano bang lens? Ano ba yung strategy mo in handling a situation? Kasi iba-iba yung audience eh. Yung sa sample mo kanina, Sir Johnny, it is with the things tama. Most likely, general public yung point of view. Then you have to be very clear, accurate, and consistent with the information if you're talking to the general public. If you're talking to the stakeholders, then what is the stakeholders of the organization? Are you in a crisis mode, or are you talking to the media? Are you in a media relations, forging relationships mode? So for me, that's whether it's in the example that you gave or any other situation, balikan natin yung objective, balikan natin yung strategy, and know our audience so that we'll be able to protect and maintain the integrity of our messaging.
Alright, salamat sa clarification. Kasi yung ibang tingin natin sa PR parang dikahon, no? Swaying public opinion lang. ang role ng PR. Pero as itemized by Ma'am Ochel, ang dami. And these are crucial and critical roles. Lalong dumarami tuloy yung ating trabaho pag ganyan. Sandali, magbabalik ang palatuntunan ng
Sige po.
SOS at ang ating Techie Wednesday, Tech for Everyone, makalipas ang ilang paalala.
Good News Pilipinas with host Francis de Guzman is advocacy in action, which brings to you exclusives to enhance life's values that really matter. This program also brings forth guideposts on scriptural truths, giving hope to nations. Watch and listen on Radio Bandito TV every Sunday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, digital free-to-air Channel 29, DZRJ 8:10 a.m., Facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m., and YouTube channel DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Radio Bandido.
Alright, nagbabalik po tayo sa palatuntunan ngayong hapon na ito ng Miyerkules at 30 na sa buwan ng Agosto. Talaga nagmamadali ito. Ayaw magpapigil si Jo Marichan. Malapit na lumabas. Sir David, sige, anong ba sasabi mo dun sa pinag-uusapan natin?
Ulitin ko, ang galing ni Ochel. Ang kaya niya i-itemize lahat. Ako po, nagkaroon ako ng chance na makipag-work sa Philippine National Police at saka sa Bureau of Corrections. So, very exciting yung mga grupo na yan. Mahal ko yan eh. Mga kaibigan ko nandyan. Kaya po, nung nagkaroon ako ng opportunity na umupo, try to give my idea about, some ideas about some pieces of ideas sa PR. Sabi ko, sige, tingnan natin anong problema. So, ang dami naman nilang magandang ginagawa eh. Halimbawa, kapag nakatambay kami sa maximum security compound ng Bureau of Corrections, ang daming iba't ibang NGOs, foundations na tumutulong sa kanila. Pero hindi nalalabas yung mga storya na yon. It's because wala eh. Bad news is good news, di ba? Mas mabenta yon. Yeah. So, nagkaroon ng opportunity. Sabi ko, we cannot create something out of nothing. So, maganda na ipakita ninyo, halimbawa sa Bucor, kung paano kayo ka-blessed. Kasi 'di ba, yun naman ang nangyayari talaga sa mga PDLs natin eh. Dapat merong reformation na nangyayari. Ang dami niyo natatanggap. Kayo ba nakapagbigay na? Opo, nakapagbigay na kami. O gusto niyo ng isa pang opportunity, halimbawa. So, in short, nagkaroon kami ng isang charitable program, nag-donate sila ng paintings nila, nabenta siya, tinuruan pa sila ni Malang, our national artist. And then, true enough, natuwa yung mga tao, church people pa, uy, ang galing pala dyan sa loob ng Bucor. Nga, makapag-tour nga kami. Pumunta ngayon ang JCI, etc. And then sa Philippine
Kala ko sabi, papasok nga kami dyan at hindi na kami lalabas.
Hindi, actually, gagawin na namin talaga yun, yung Bucor tours. Okay. Even yung bread nila, kasi ang daming bakery sa loob, Sir Johnny and Ochel. So, sabi ko, sige, dinedevelop na namin yun with JCI, hindi lang natuloy dahil sa sa pandemic. So that's something good na pwede natin ipakita sa kanila. Kasi nga parang ang tingin kasi ng mga tao sa Bucor halimbawa or in any bulok na government institution na tinatag na bulok, ayaw na namin makialam dyan. But the thing is, dapat makialam tayo, makilahok tayo, ika nga, Sa Philippine National Police, sabi ko sa kanila, kung meron mga grupo ng generals na colonel pataas lang ang pwedeng magsama-sama, why don't we start sa PO1? PO1 pa lang. Sukbitan na natin yan ng mga libro sa bewang. Sabi niya, ano yan, David? Imbis po na baril. Ano sila? Anyways, in short, parang you reach out to children, etc. Tapos ang sabi nila sa akin, David, maganda yung idea, pero hindi pwede kasi meron kaming policy sa uniform. Ganito dapat. Sabi ko, how about we do this, etc. May budget kasi. Meron kasing batas na dapat na sinusunod. So in any PR endeavor, maganda na mag-umpisa ka sa programa. Di ba? Ano bang gusto mong paghugutan ng storya ng pang-relate mo doon sa yung media man ito or corporate o di kaya general public. At maganda na dapat totoo. Sinasabi ko kay General Elizar dati na kung kikilos po tayo, maganda po yung purong-puro. Diba? Yung walang masisilip yung ibang tao para walang problema.
Dinagdagan ni Sir David yung dami ng trabaho natin. Lalo pat wala daw budget, Ma'am Ochel, no? Problema talaga yan. Dahil dun sa promotion na gagawin para maipakita sa ating communities yung mga efforts, no? Best efforts ng ating mga individual incorporators o kaya as a group, magkakailangan talaga ito ng malaki-laking gastusin para talagang maipakita, mailabas. Ito yung problema natin, yung role ng media, for example. There was a time na, yung binanggit mo kanina, Sir David, wala naman newspaper nung araw eh. Pero ginamit yung dyaryo to give out information. Pero nung declining na yung sales ng newspaper, ang ginawa nila, nag-create sila ng tabloid at naglagay ng mga sexing, mga picture ng babae at lalaki. Tapos in SS, I'm sure alam ni Ma'am Ochel, ni Sir David, yung binabanggit ko, no? Yung kanilang mga headline to make it more marketable. Ngayon, eto na naman, social media, kapag tinignan natin yung ating mga feeds, lalo na yung mga reels ngayon, tinapos mo na yung reel, yung nakalagay na title ng reel, hinahanap mo pa, pero wala. No? Dahil ang gusto mangyari is just to talagang i-hook yung ating mga audience. Are we seeing that tabloidal effect, Ma'am Ochel, sa iba't ibang mga trabaho ninyo sa public relations, sa ngayong digital era? Can we still see that direction? At ang social media ba dyan papunta? Yung tabloidal effect na yan, Ma'am Ochel?
Sir, ang term siguro na tabloidal effect is clickbait. Yun ang palaging ginagamit ngayon sa digital efforts, right?
Correct, tama.
Parang very similar dun sa sinasabi ni Sir Johnny dun sa tabloid na just for the sake of getting the views, diba? Just for the sake of getting the engagement, na minsan there's a disconnect between the caption and the content. Correct. Or minsan yung background music, walang kinalaman dun sa messaging and the like. So, there iba-ibang strategy kasi ngayon because everybody at a certain point, no, if not everybody, at least almost everyone wants to be an influencer. Mm-hmm. So, what the term influencer is actually challenging because who do you want to influence? Mm-hmm. Who is your target audience? If you want to be a comedian, then stick to being a comedian. Dapat lahat ng content mo consistent so that you can relate to your public relations in such a way that you're consistent with being a comedian. And then no need to explain, diba? And no need to clickbait later on as you build your brand or your identity, their digital identity. So, ganun siya, Sir Johnny, in the same manner na even brands are doing the same thing. Diba? Clickbait, minsan, just to, even the cover photos, you will be interested. Or minsan, if you see it on your Facebook, even the big vlogs, or yung mga feature content, diba? Parang, here, may ganun pa. There is a call to action pa na you will not be able to consume the message without going into the page, clicking more clicks and engaging. So it's a strategy. It because people are now, or brands in general are now being measured by views. You don't even know if the views are actually relevant. Diba? Baka kasi reach, dumaan lang sa page. People are now being measured by number of comments. But sometimes the challenge is, are the comments relevant? Are the comments irrelevant? Diba ang daming irrelevant right now, may mga cryptocurrency na hindi mo kilala kung sino, nagda-drop na lang ng messages dun sa wala makinalaman sa content. But someone perhaps whose KPI as a communicator is number of engagements, expect ko yun. Kasi sabi ng boss ko, yun yung impact namin eh. So, it works. It works to a certain degree, Sir Donnie, and Sir David would probably agree with this, that the clickbait method still works. But what is the intention of having the clickbait? More often than not, it's just to gain numbers. So if you really want to go through the right messaging, content is king pa din tayo. Content is king. Queen, prince, princess. Begin with the right content. Just be consistent with also the right content. So as you build your reputation and to also correct any perceptions that your public has. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what public relations is all about. The correct messaging, making sure that the perception, you are perceived in such a way that you want to be perceived. And at the same time, your reputation is as you want to be talked about the moment you leave the room. Diba? Sabi nga nila, reputation is what it is the moment that you leave the room. So ganun po yung mga terms that we want to throw into the discussion. Consistency of communications, perception, and definitely reputation. All are the evolving facets now of PR. Yun yung sinasabi namin, Sir Johnny, Sir David, na dati, baka ma-press release ka lang, siguro in the early 90s, okay na. We have to act on those intentions so that they will be impactful.
Ako na magsasabi, Sir David, ang galing talaga ni Ochel. Sige, galing, Sir David.
So Johnny, tanongin ko lang si Ochel, sa work mo sa iSentia, I'm sure hindi lahat ng clients ninyo mag-a-agree agad sa inyo, no? So how do you encourage them to na sabihin, this is really the right track, hindi yan ginagawa ninyo?
So, tama si Sir David, especially if it's their KPI. Kasi po nasa measurement kami ng PR, nasa measurement kami ng marketing, we even have measurement of corporate communications efforts and the like. So the moment that you present this to a specific audience, especially the end user, that's also their KPI. So the moment you say, oh, your performance declined, your performance improved, they will probably report the same thing in their own boardrooms if we are not yet in the boardroom as we speak. So madalas, if the reason also why they're getting third-party measurement such as us is to maintain the integrity, the data integrity. Kasi kung ikaw na yung gumawa, ikaw pa yung magme-measure, you will have several biases as to whether or not you performed well or not. So the always, if there is any number one, kailangan tama yung project brief. We have to agree on the deliverables. Ano ba yung isa-submit namin? And that's very operational. But at the end of the day, ano ba yung objective nyo? Babalik tayo dito. What do you wanna know? And whatever you want to know, how will you use that? Again, intention to impact, diba? Yun yung trail of thought. So the moment that we disagree, it's either brought about by, out of scope ba yan? Or for example, hindi siya covered nung initial nating discussions. Or for example, medyo belated na yung presentation of results. So even our recommendations were already implemented, diba? Kasi over time. So ang palaging the how to bridge that gap between the results and the impact is also is to agree on how timely are we going to deliver your results. How timely do you need the results, right? Kasi sometimes there are organizations that want everything. Gusto ko ng daily, gusto ko ng monthly, may weekly, same everything. It has to be in the nature of how much information do you need and the time that you can act upon the information that you have. So if my disagreements, we always say, number one, we have to revisit siguro the scope of what you want to measure. We have to revisit your messaging. To a certain degree, sometimes it's also painful to hear, the messaging is not working at this time. You wanna recalibrate and repivot. So always po solutions driven. Ano yung next solution if we get into a disagreement? What is the next step if ever a content or your PR or your marketing efforts are not working vis-a-vis how they are being measured? That's also one. And at the end of the day, it's all about accepting that the audit is a collaboration between us who measure and let's say the brand, the organization, government man to or private, that we are collaborators, we are partners, we're not competitors, we're not telling you that what you did was right or wrong. What we're telling you, what we're telling you is this is what's happening, these are the next steps, let's try this kasi we are in collaboration to improve your scores. Parang ganun. But sometimes, if I may add, it's also about looking at scenarios. Di ba pag usually may campaign or may effort, mataas yan. Pag nawala na yan, wala na, bababa ulit. So, you have to look at it at different lenses. You also have to look at outliers. Ang dami pong ways to measure communications and PR and marketing efforts because of the different lenses and the different nuances po of every organization. So yun po palagi kapag may disagreements, it has to be in the right mindset. We are collaborators, we are not competitors, and we need to be solutions driven. And at the end of the day, data doesn't lie. So what we have is data. And use that, empower that data to leverage on your next decisions and efforts.
Oh, yan. Sana nakinig at talagang nanonood yung ating mga kababayan dahil before we end the program, may quiz tayo. Ang galing ni Uchel, talagang parang naka 3 units na kagad ako sa marketing/public relations. Pero Sir David, binanggit ni Ma'am Uchel kanina, clickbait, no? Ito yung talagang ginagawa ngayon ng ibang mga individuals or groups. Baka may mga kumpanya pa nga na gumagawa dyan simply to really maging talk of the town. Yung kanilang products man yan, service man yan. Pero gusto kong itanong, yung bang clickbait thing, sino nag-develop nito? Kanino na-develop ito? Sa public relations rin ba? O sa labas ng mundo ng PR, Sir David?
Sir Johnny, hindi ko alam. Okay. Baka yun nga, baka nag-evolve na siya, no? So from newspaper and speeches and all, hanggang sa napunta na sa ganitong klaseng format. Kasi nag-evolve din. Kung technology na yung mga tao mo, yung mga kliyente mo, readers mo, watchers, listeners, doon na rin sila mag-iisip ng, yung magde-devise ng mga ways how to do clickbait in tech. Yun po ang ating...
Kasi babalik ako dun sa argumento na marami sa atin hindi naiintindihan what public relations is. Ang alam lang natin, PR, pampa-good image ni kung sino mang elected official. Parang ganun yung ganun yung dating sa ating mga simpleng mga kababayan. Pampa-good image ng isang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Pero yung binabanggit ni Sir David, ang daming ginagawang talagang best effort yung mga agencies pero hindi naman na ilalabas. Okay? Dahil sa dami rin siguro ng kanilang, I don't know, baka hindi priority. Now, Mamuchel, how do we make this a priority? Yung paglalabas natin ng good information. Kasi ang ganda ng role ng 30th anniversary from intention to impact. Paano natin isa sa buhay yan? How do we live by that slogan? Not only in the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, kundi tayong mga komunikador at yung impact na kinecreate ng bawat buka ng ating bibig, bawat tipa ng ating keys ng ating mga computers and everything dun sa ating mga kababayan.
Sir Johnny, I think to address that very core of impact, it is important to understand that there has been an adapting to evolving perceptions. Yun yung kailangan maintindihan. Perceptions are subject to change. Okay. It changes over time, and this is due to various factors such as marketing trends, yung cultural shift. Yung sinasabi ni Sir David kanina, clickbait could just be a natural evolution of what happened in the tabloids before and societal changes. So I think that's where PR really, the evolution of PR is all about. The adapting to evolving perceptions. There needs also to be there needs to have continuous efforts to adapt and steer perception in alignment with what we say, evolving intentions, if I may say so. So yung role ng PR na yon in shaping perceptions and reputation, if I may bring that term again, it's the strategic management of communication to influence and shape public perception. And when we say shape public perception, most of the time it's, again, sabi nga natin, it's taken differently. But it's not. Shaping public perception also means through well-crafted messaging, honest messaging, we mold how individuals and organizations or brands are perceived by the public. And over time, this has to evolve with the right actions, the right call to action, so that it doesn't just appear as, a note-taking or an afterthought na sinasabi namin sa public relations, yung kanina nga Sir Johnny, na hindi na nga naiintindihan ng tao what PR is all about. And most of the time, nakikita lang yung, I think the what we know, or the pin-PR lang yan, or quote-unquote minamanipulate ang stories. PR is all about the impact of narratives. It's all about storytelling. And storytelling doesn't necessarily need manipulation. It just needs to have the consistent messaging. Madalas through that storytelling, which is actually a strategy, not just a strategy, but actually an authentic storytelling, organizational storytelling. Public relations is the key to creating something that is relatable to the audience. It also engages the audience to the identity of brands and organizations to resonate with audiences. So, hindi lang sa one-time, big time. So, kung ano mang nangyayari ngayon sa, let's say, organizations na sinabi natin kanina, PNP, Bucor, let's say, the bigger or conglomerates that you have, that's the reason why they invest in communications teams. Kasi they want to be consistent with the messaging. They want to be consistent with their missions, their visions, and achievements. And hindi nila nakokontrol what's happening in the society. But what they can control is to stitch what the external factors going back to the vision, mission, and achievements. Kasi over time, the public will realize what is true diba? The public will also realize over time what is genuine and authentic. And that's the reason why I think a lot of the younger ones and even the new communicators now are very, very attracted to authenticity and transparency. Kasi sabi nga ni Sir Johnny, kasi we trust us to be able to consume that information. Trust us to make choices even with that kind of information. So, it's not a matter of manipulating stories. It's a matter of the correct storytelling. Kasi over time, once you are consistent, your audiences will realize what your vision and mission is all about. And PR is just it is the best investment any organization will do and has to be consistent with.
At saka yung Sir Johnny, idagdag ko lang yung sinasabi ni Ochel na best investment. So, in short, yun nga, meron talagang budget yan, ano? Kaya yung ginagawa nila sa iCentia, napaka-importante Kasi they're putting numbers dun sa justification, sa explanation. Kasi, I don't know kung na-experience ni Ochel to or si Sir Johnny din as PR person or sa iba nating mga kasamahan, ano, na minsan na isasantabi yung function ng comms, ng PR, kasi para sa kanila, isulat mo na lang yan. Basta lumabas ako sa dyaryo, okay na. Pero hindi. This time, you're able to correlate yung success, yung benta, yung affiliation ng mga kasamahan natin doon sa ginagawa nating PR efforts. Ochel, tanungin ko lang, dito sa PR Congress, sino-sino ba yung iba nating mga, entice us? Sino-sino abangan natin dyan kung sakali?
So I would like to encourage everybody who's listening to the program, please visit our Facebook page of the Public Relations Society of the Philippines. You will see there all the information relating to the biggest gathering of communications professionals, which is happening on September 14 to 15 at the Fairmont, Makati. To register, please visit our Facebook page, our website, prsp.ph, or you can even email our secretariat at prsp.ph. So I'll just throw some names onto the table para you will have an idea. So again, Sir Johnny and Sir David, we are going to have 3 portions of the entire event. We will tackle the past, the present, and the future. It's because the time nga is our overarching theme.
Yes.
So our keynote speaker is Senator Lauren Legarda, and then that's gonna happen on day 1. On day 1, we will have topics such as, and we will begin with who is the PR pro? Yun yung tinatanong kanina ni Sir Johnny. Sino siya? Who is the PR professional? That's the very first session after the keynote that we will discuss. This will be the speakers here will be the Public Relations Society of the Philippines past presidents, veterans such as the veterans. Ito yung mga institusyon namin like Sir Andy Saracho, Ms. Tika Mendoza, Maria Yolanda, Ms. Yoli Crisanto, Ms. Ritzy Villarico, Ronquillo, and will be moderated by also past President Norman Agatep. We will also have back to basics, like going back to the drawing board, like Professor Sev Sarmenta. We will have media relations, our cousins from the media, like Sir Daxim Lucas from the Philippine Daily Inquirer and Sir Joji Dingkong from Entertainment. We also have Sir Neil Trinidad of GCAS, who's the Chief Marketing of GCAS. He will be talking about magnetic brand storytelling. We also have Boiling Point or Managing Crisis Communications, Fake News and Reputation. There are a number of names here, but Sir Joe Saldarriaga, the Vice President and Head of Corporate Communications of Meralco, will be speaking alongside SVP of Marketing, SM Supermall, Sir Joaquin San Agustin. We also have Sir Jonathan Yabot, who is the Apprentice Asia winner and founder of and managing director of Jonathan Yabot Consultancy and Ventures. He will be speaking about internal PR. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, sir, na madalas hindi pinag-uusapan, but there is such a thing as internal PR. Then we have also and dami pa, but I will also like to add that we also have visitors from abroad. The Global Managing Directors of International Association of Measurement and Evaluation of Communication will be here for the first time in the Philippines, Jonah Burke, and yung mga, kumbaga, equivalents namin ni na Sir David in Hong Kong, Vietnam, Indonesia. They will be coming over and to talk about global PR passport as our Asian cousins. What are they doing in their markets that we can learn from? Marami pa po, marami pa. And then from the government side, siguro I'll end here. We have managing public perception and shaping public opinion. We have Chairman of MDA, Chairman Romando Artes. We also have USEC Margarita Gutierrez from the DILG, and USEC Amihilda Sangkopan of the Department of Agrarian Reform, and several others pa, sir, that coming from the different sectors and different forms of PR na sinabi ko po kanina. So please join us. It will be a fun 2 full day event at the Fairmont Makati. Please.
UGM, Ugnayang Gobyerno at Mamamayan, ang programang humuhugot sa mga isyung may kinalaman sa pang-araw-araw nating buhay at tumatalakay sa halo-halong usapin na may kabuluhan sa ating lahat at may pake sa bawat isang mamamayan. Ginagawa ang pagtatalakay sa estilong umpukan at masayang kwentuhan. Bukod sa mga balita ni Mastermind 𝗦𝗶𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗍, hinihimay din ng UGM kung bakit mahalaga sa atin ang mga desisyon ng gobyerno at kung ano ang magiging epekto nito sa ating pang-araw-araw na buhay. Nagbibigay impormasyon din kung ano-ano at aling-aling ahensya ang pwedeng tumulong at tumugon sa problema ng mga mamamayan. Nagbibigay din ng kaalaman ang UGM sa mga bagay na may kinlaman sa pagmamay-ari ng lupa upang magkaroon ng kalasag ang mga iligal na pinapaalis, dinedemolis at inaagawan ng lupa ng mga land grabbers. Kaya wag tantanan ang UGM, Ugnayang Gobyerno at Mamamayan. Tumutok sa Radio Bandido TV para informed ka. Watch Monday to Friday
Except Tuesdays on Radio Bandido TV,
Channel 224 Sky Cable, Free to Air Channel 29, TV Plus Boxes, DZRJ 810 AM, Facebook/DZRJ 810 AM, and on YouTube channel
DZRJ 810 AM, Radio Bandido.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests